How do you stay fit and healthy during the kids' holidays and breaks from school?
Well, I think for some people, they've probably actually got themselves into quite a good routine. So, you know, when it comes to their training, to their nutrition, their habits, their sleep, this year they've probably started to really get themselves into a good routine. For other people, they haven't started yet. So it's been an intention of theirs for a while that they really want to get into a routine. But it's things like this, these little challenges that come up all the way through the year that's kind of blocking them. So like, I think this is a really important topic to discuss. So I think first of all, because I've got 4 really good solutions here that would work, but I think first of all, it'd be good to understand what is the impact of these holidays and breaks and the kids kind of falling out of routine. But as we're parents, like, you're probably the best person to ask. What comes up?
Yeah, I feel like because it's a holiday, you kind of just see it as time to relax, or routine goes out the window, and you're just really making the most of that time together.
Yeah. Well, that, and I think what you've just said there as well, like, we're trying to make the most out of the time together. So what do you end up doing? More day trips, going out, seeing family, seeing friends. And then all of that then has that knock-on impact in terms of like falling out the routine. Like when you go to like the zoo, for example, what's the food like there?
Awful.
Like you can't find a high protein option without having a bunch of carbs and chips and whatever with it. I think that's one thing. But another thing you just said there, and I know that we felt this too, is like that parent guilt. So if you're not doing something with the kids, if you're not with them when they're on a break, you feel like they're missing out and you're missing out, and you feel guilty for actually taking time for yourself. So I think that's actually some of the core elements as to why it becomes such a big impact on people's health and well-being in the first place. And it's really important to acknowledge that, because if you don't understand that, you can go straight in with solutions, but those solutions might not actually meet you where you are today. And I think that's what probably sets us apart a little bit when we're working with people, actually getting to understand what their obstacles are and then meeting them where they are in terms of what they want to achieve. Another thing that I think is worth addressing here is, you know, like when you've started to build momentum and you've seen results, and you've done this yourself, like where you start to see success, feel better, feel stronger, get leaner, and then suddenly an obstacle like that comes up. And then it's not like you fall off the wagon, because I hate that saying. You're not on a wagon, you're just managing things in life, right? But how did that feel when you started to lose that momentum that you were building?
Yeah, I think it takes a bit of practice, doesn't it? I think before I was so used to just taking each moment as it came rather than planning ahead. And I think it took me a while to kind of go, actually, in order for me to go to the gym, making that time for myself, whether it meant asking someone to help with the kids, whether it meant us two working around, okay, you go gym first, and then when you come back, I'll be ready to go, and then we can get on with our day. But even with like the day trips that you mentioned, again, it's just that planning again, and you know, having that plan, that routine in place, and then you all end up thriving in your own way. Yeah, things may not always go to plan sometimes, but you end up feeling so much better for, you know, if you do it, then the chances of that happening are more likely. And just from my own experience with the kids, like I know I feel a lot more energetic once I've, you know, taken that time out for myself, and I'm more present and available for the children too. And then, like we said with the day trips, you know, when you're doing things with the kids and like some of the play areas and places that you may go to, the food isn't going to be like great, the quality is not going to be great. So sometimes it is just better to have that food prepped and planned for yourself to take out, or maybe look up a nicer restaurant and decide what time you will be leaving, and then like get into the destination, whether you eat before or after. So I think it's just planning better.
Well, yeah, I think the issue becomes, you know, when you've built all that momentum and you feel great and you feel like you're thriving, you feel like you're succeeding, you hit an obstacle and then suddenly you falter, then all of that self-doubt starts to creep in. You start to lose confidence in yourself, lose confidence in the process. You don't see it as a learning curve then, so you don't see it as something you can learn from. And then when you start to notice that, the energy towards the journey starts to drop down. So what I would want everyone to take from this is really that these obstacles are going to happen.
Yeah.
And actually it's a learning curve. And if you're first doing something, you shouldn't expect yourself to be great at it. Like we said this before, if your child is learning to walk and your child falls over, you go and pick the child up and encourage them and nurture them and help them and support them. Whereas if you start to judge yourself for failing or having that perception of failure because you weren't able to manage it effectively, then you're going to have that negative impact on yourself.
Yeah.
And that negative self-talk starts to creep in. So one of the things that I would ask people to do is just notice. Just take some time to notice what went well, what did you struggle with, and then there you can start to think about how can I adapt going forwards. But there's 4 clear solutions to this, and I think the 4th one will really surprise people. So I'm just going to kind of run them through. So the first one for me is taking a helicopter view of your current situation. So a lot of people look at weight loss as a day-to-day thing. So if they see it drop, they think they're succeeding. If they see the weight gain, they feel like they're failing. And then thinking about it from a week-to-week perspective, if they see progress over a week, they feel great. If they see maybe the weight has gone up over a week, they feel bad. And then that's what creates that lack of consistency. So what I would say is take a helicopter view of your year. So know that these are going to be your biggest challenges. Kids being on breaks, holidays that you're going to go on yourself, birthdays, wedding celebrations, family occasions, that sort of stuff. And if you can take a helicopter view of your year, you'll probably notice that about maybe 8 to 9 weeks of your year are going to be really challenging, but then the rest of the year represents an opportunity to progress. So just know that there's going to be fluctuations in those weeks. You might be focusing more on maintenance in those weeks as opposed to progress, but maintenance is success for a lot of people. I think the second one has to be, don't feel judged by following your own path. Don't feel fear of following your own path. Like, stop worrying what other people are going to think. So, you know, if you go to a family occasion and you pack some high protein snacks, like imagine that. So, or even just go to the zoo or go to a family day out and you pack yourself some high protein snacks. Like, a lot of people would be almost a bit fearful of just pulling those out and eating them in front of other people.
I think it's not only that, but sometimes you're just so used to that habit of, oh, I'm having a cup of tea, would you like one as well? And even though you may not necessarily feel like you need it, you'll kind of just say, yeah, of course, that'd be nice.
You just like
sit down and have a cup of tea. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, is like, if you can actually be okay with just doing your own thing and following your own path and just having that protein bar instead of the tea and biscuits.
Or a nice hot chocolate with whipped cream.
But that's, again, not saying you can't have those things, but you can adapt the way you do things and don't feel guilty about it. I think that's going to be a really powerful thing. You've outlined this already, but communication between partners, communication between key players in your life, between family members. So you know when you can go to the gym each day, I know when I can go to the gym each day. So it doesn't mean that we have to miss out on our own self-care and our own routines. And if we need to and we can't go to the gym, we can adapt. Because it could just be that we're really active that day with the family.
But even that, it's taken me a while to learn that. Remember with the kids first, like the first time I was on this journey with the team, and the first holiday came up, it was 1.5 terms, and I just felt like I didn't have that time for myself that I would normally make, and you know, I wasn't eating well or eating enough just because I was so occupied with the kids and out and about all day, and you know, and then from that I learned, and I thought, actually I can take control of this. I just need to map it out and plan it a little better, and I know what to expect next time. So, and I think that was when, even with the communication side, that was a whole big learning curve as well. You would go to the gym, I'd be like, yeah, fine, you get on with your day, and you know, the kids are such a big priority of mine. Not that they're not yours, but you know, it took me a while to actually go at such a simple thing to say, oh, Juggy, are you okay with the kids at what point of the day will you be fine with them? So then I, like, when your work's over, and I can then go to the gym and make sure I'm getting in my session that I want to get in for the week.
And like, we're lucky, mum and dad really want to be with the kids all the time anyway. So we can ask them, can we have support? But I think there's a massive fear of actually asking for the support that you need. And I think that's a massive one to overcome if you want to make sure that you actually thrive during these periods. And I think the fourth one, and this is the one that people just don't understand enough, but it's the most valuable mindset that you can get into, and it's becoming like the king or the queen of adaptability. And I said that earlier on, like you might not go to a gym, you might learn how to use your body and train from home. You might learn that actually you don't need to train that week to progress, that actually you adapt your goals slightly. So we call it in the CHR, we call it minimal and maximum objectives. So when you've got really tough periods, you can go to your minimal stuff and say, okay, I can focus on my nutrition this week, or I can focus on sleeping well this week, or my hydration this week. Whereas your maximal stuff is where things are a little bit easier. You can say, yeah, I'm gonna smash 4 sessions this week and every single session is gonna be a personal best. Like, know that you've got bandwidth. It's not black and white. You can be in the gray area and see massive progress. So I think like almost wrapping this up to a degree is, you know, if you want to be in the same position that you're in today or worse in the next 5, 10, 15 years, because you didn't learn the skills and the tools to manage yourself more effectively, then you can do that by just rinsing and repeating what you're currently doing and feeling like you're trapped in a bit of a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Or you can reach out to people, get the support that you need, educate yourself so you can make more informed choices going forwards. And then if you really want to get through these difficult periods of the year, like the kids' holidays and breaks, and still feel good energy-wise, build your confidence, see physical progress, then you can do that through these mechanisms.
Yeah, it's great seeing, like, sharing what's going on with the other members in similar positions. Like, obviously there's a lot in the same position as myself, and you can learn from one another. It's great because you're just sharing ideas on how to overcome certain things, or certain things that certain individuals would do, and you just think, oh, how come I never thought of that? And, you know, apply it yourself, and it's just so great to be able to have that, you know, that level of support.
That power of community around you, right? So yeah, that would be the answer to that question.